I'm Matt Cerrone from MetsBlog.com and SNY.TV, and I'm talking with Ronnie Darling. You have a book coming out soon, The Complete Game, which I was fortunate enough to be able to skim through. And one of the things you talked about actually was that sort of second wind in your first big league season. You're not used to pitching that many innings. There's a couple guys on this team I think that applies to, Mike Pelfrey in particular. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that and what you think he might need to do, to succeed this season.
I think two things happened in my first year in '84. One, I didn't make the All-Star team. I was 9-3 at the break, and I kind of had my dauber down because I didn't make it, and then realized that there's so many great players that why should I make it, And then secondly, I think, is I'd pitched, 160, 170 innings in the minor leagues, but never had pitched close to 200, which I did in '84. And how did I get my second win? I got it by literally, like Mike Pelfrey did last year, kind of just reaching down in the tank, and there's nothing down there, and you're searching, and you try to find where you can find some of that energy. And great athletes find it, and Mike Pelfrey did last year, and I was lucky enough to find it in '84.
What do you see as really the biggest weakness on this team? It's hard when you're in camp. Yeah. You get really wrapped up in the hype. But tell me a little bit. Bring me back to reality, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, no one wants to hear reality. It's spring training. It's everything's supposed to be great. Reality would be is that you have a set lineup, and if you look at the lineup, you're so happy about it. But what if someone gets hurt? What if Delgado is 40 instead of 37? What if Beltran has a gimpy knee? What if Schneider can't catch, Castro gets hurt, and Cancel is catching up? There's so many things that can happen. But on paper, I think the Mets have done everything you'd want to do to have the team that's ready to take on the Phillies, because that's what it is. It goes through Broad Street. At some point, you have to take the Philadelphia Phillies, who've been full of bravado, full of talk, and you have to take them down. And how do you do that? With inspired play every single day. And I think the Mets addressed the biggest problem they had last year is that in the 8th and 9th inning, they gave away games August, September, 18 blown saves. Francisco Rodriguez, who just signed, only blew 7 out of 69 chances. So 9th inning's done, for the most part. 8th inning's done with J.J. Putz. 7th inning is kind of a mix and match with a starter and whoever. I don't know. I like their chances. They have done what the mid-'80s New York Giants football team did. They shortened the game. So all of a sudden, you have to beat the Mets in 6 innings. If you don't beat them in 6 innings, you're going to lose.
You mentioned on paper, and you hear that a lot. Teams they look great on paper, and then things just don't come together. How do you, as a player, not let that be comforting. Like actually fight through that.
Yeah, that's a great question, Matt. I think what you're mentioning is that we heard a lot of stuff about culture this year, right, with A-Rod and whatever. The culture that Jerry Manuel is trying to start here is that of winning baseball. And it doesn't matter who's hurt. Concentrate on who you have, not who you don't have. And I think that they've gotten to a point now where this team is drinking the Kool-Aid, man. They are so happy to have a guy to lead them. I'm a huge Willie Randolph fan. I played against Willie. He's one of the classiest men to ever wear a Met uniform. That being said, I think Jerry Manuel addressing that there could be complacency by shaking up a little bit tells you that he feels that in the past there has been some complacency. How do you do that? You shake it up and say, listen, no one has a job, no one's comfortable. The only way you're comfortable is if we win 100 games. And I think in that way, he's done an amazing job to let these guys know that you're a 100-win team. If you don't win 100, you came up short. And that's a good thing to strive for.